Hi everyone. So today I want to talk about the story Kaya Goes Hunting. When I first read it, I could picture the whole scene so clearly. The campfire, the sound of the didgeridoo, the stillness of the early morning. It really put me in. To understand this story, I used a lot of what I already know, like basic story structure and also some background knowledge about Aboriginal culture. For example, words like billabong and clapstricks gives me clues that this was a traditional setting, probably somewhere in Australia bush. And I have learned before that storytelling, music, and land are really important in First Nation communities. That's actually an example of situated knowledge, basically what we bring into a text based on your own experience and what we have learned before. I realized my understanding came from school readings and just living in Australia. But I also know there's still a lot I don't know. So I try to stay open and respectful when reading stories like this. Even though I don't come from the same culture, I still connected with some parts. For example, Kaya want to do something brave. I think most people can realize this kind of moment. As a future Year 3 teacher, this story reminds me how important it is to bring diverse voices into the classroom. It's not just about learning to read, it's about understanding people, cultures, and different ways of seeing the world. Stories like this help children build empathy and start important conversation. The focus on this week is the word of a story, so I chose one story, Guess How Much I Love You. It is a beautiful children's story about love between parents and children. It is simple, it really touched me, and I think it shows a special view of the world. The world in this story is calm, gentle, and full of love. There are only two characters, Big Nut Brown Hair and Little Nut Brown Hair, but their conversation shows us a world where love is safe, warm, and underneath. The way they try to describe how much they love each other, like I love you to the moon and back, helps children understand big emotions in simple ways. I think the author understands how important love and care are in families. The story shows a very caring relationship, and it reflects cultural values like emotional safety, trust, and communication between generations. In week 2, we learned that quality children literature has layers of meaning and reflects a view of the world. Even though Guess How Much I Love You looks simple, it has deep emotional meaning. It is a great example of a story that teaches big ideas with just a few words and pictures. And it also shows how reading and writing are social and cultural practice. They teach us how to connect with others. Hello everyone. So this week we were asked to look at the video inquiry learning in play spaces and think about what different teaching approach we can spot. Honestly, I saw quite a few and they were really different from traditional methods. First of all, the most obvious one was inquiry-based learning. Part the teacher actually planned based on what the children are interested in. For example, when the kids want to learn about boat, and she didn't just tell them the fact, she gave them activities to explore floating and sinking. That's really inquiry, letting students lead the learning by asking questions and investigating. Then there's play-based learning. The environment is super open, full of materials that invite curiosity. Partridge even said the environment is the third teacher, when the learning happens through play, space, and relationships. I also noticed a student-centered approach. She focuses on 2 children each day and plans next steps based on what they are doing, not just following a set curriculum. She takes time to really see how they think, what they are trying, and she values their process. So in these short videos where I could identify these 3 teaching approaches, inquiry-based learning, play-based learning, and student-centered teaching. In addition, compared to something like the skill-based model, this feels more dynamic and responsive. It's about real learning, not just ticking boxes. So this is what I understand about this week. Thanks for listening. Hi everyone, today I want to talk about a lovely little poem called Now We Are 6. It's all about a child growing up from age 1 all the way to 6 and proudly saying, now I'm 6, I'm really growing up. It's simple and sweet, the kids really enjoy it, but what makes it even better is that it's packaged with great phonics content. For example, we hear consonant digraphs like WH makes sound V in when, TH makes the sound S in sync, and CH ch in just. These are great for helping children learning that 2 letters can make 1 sound. Then there are vowel digraphs and diphthongs like ow in now, which makes that sliding ow sound. We also get the long a in am, which is a nice example of a split vowel digraph. Words like clever and ever include R-controlled vowels, which the R changes the way the vowel sounds. Something tricky for many young readers, but really important to learn. We can also point out blends like cl in clever and ink in sync, and don't forget the stra sound and that soft lazy sound in forever. It shows up in unstressed syllables and is super common in English. The rhyme in form is perfect for teaching onset and rhyme, and children can hear patterns in words like 2, new, 5, alive, and 6, ever. These patterns help them break words down and spot familiar chunks when they are reading and writing. So thanks for listening. Hi everyone. So for this video, I just want to talk about what it was like creating my digital story using file photos and how it connects with what we have been learning in class and from the readings. At first, I thought it would be really easy, just take a few photos, add some explanations, but once I actually got started, I realized there's so much more to think about, like what's the best order for the photos, what kind of mood or message am I trying to share, and how can I make the pictures and the explanations really work together to tell the story in a clear and engaging way. That's when it hit me. This is exactly what we have been talking about in class. Literacy today isn't just about reading and writing words. It's about understanding and using different modes like visuals, layout, even sound or movement to create meaning. So when I was making my story, I had to really think about the visuals, what color, what the feeling I want the reader to get. So it made me realize that visuals can tell a story on their own. So things like color, layout, and angles, all those little choices help shape the way people understand the story. I also found myself using the full resources model. I was a code breaker, figuring out how to combine text and image. A text participant telling a story that mattered to me. A text user thinking about how others would see it, and a text critic reflecting on what kind of message my story was actually sending. So that was a really cool experience. It makes me think a lot more about how I can bring digital storytelling into my future classroom. Thanks for listening.